I'm Ekin, I'm Turkish. I am actually a part of the NIM 20 cohort at ESMT, my Master's in Management program. And yeah, I live in Berlin now. I did my undergrad in London at Bayes Business School, formerly called CAS. And I was intending to initially stay, but then the Brexit situation was actually taking place at the year that I was graduating. So it did a lot of complications, it caused a lot of complication, let's say, in the year. Therefore, for my next degree, I wanted to be in an environment where I know that I can have a stable future as a Turkish student, because I'm non-European. So Germany was a great option for me. I also come from a German-Turkish high school background, therefore I already knew German. And Berlin is a fantastic city, very dynamic, very lively, lots of interesting people to meet. I wanted the environment to be as international, to match London in that way, and I would say that I definitely found that in Berlin. The NIM program is very extensive, and the focus is definitely not just the theory, or as you put it, not just sitting in the classroom. There are a lot of exchange possibilities for students to take on. Let it may be in Europe and also outside. A lot of the cohort friends are actually went to US, for instance, some to Denmark. So that's wide scale. And outside of that, of course, we have the SIP, the Social Impact Project, in the curriculum. It is a module in itself, in which that in the second year of the program, where we can do it remotely or on field, but we're working with an NGO, a not-for-profit organization, and we're providing pro bono consulting for a month. So ESMT is actually includes this program where we're completing this task in very exciting locations, being able to touch a lot of valuable projects that are, for example, if you were to stay where you are, you wouldn't really be aware of maybe. So it's actually a great push in that way. Frankly, ever since I started with my degree at ESMT, one of the main things that really is just very clear is that it's a very practical school. It's not about just learning the theories of business and discussing cases, which obviously is a very important part of it and which is covered also extensively. But it actually goes beyond, because it's a school that is founded by business. Therefore, you actually see it in every step of the program that there's a lot of hands-on experience that is very highly valued. Therefore, I think that ESMT's NIM program, especially the fact that it includes this SIP, is a way to push the students outside of their comfort zone and to be able to experience something that they wouldn't. First of all, it's an international experience. We had, even in the classroom setting, we are actually the person next to you is 99% chances not from the same country as you're from, which makes the experience again unique in Berlin. So the international aspect is definitely one thing, a major thing, I would say. Second is there's a big focus on topics of sustainability, business development in the developed countries. So this is also a chance for ESMT to expose the students to these areas and find their way into how they can contribute, because this is also something that is found very inherently in what the ESMT values within the campus as well, from the things that are being sold to any kind of policies that is shaping the campus life, but then also the program and what it entails. It is definitely biggest highlight of the program. I think also I would dare to say probably for most of us in a life experience, maybe a more significant experience of our life. Mainly because it's a push out of the comfort zone. I am currently in Zanzibar, Tanzania. This year was the first year that I ever got out of Europe. I would say, I'm in Turkey, so I've been in Asia, but then mostly traveling whenever I traveled in Europe. So this year I was lucky enough to go to Brazil, and this is the first time I'm in Africa ever. it is a completely different environment. I think it's very easy for people, for all of us, including myself, is to turn a blind eye to things when we're just so accustomed to see things as they are in our daily lives. And when you're actually like changing the location and like you actually change mindset, you switch mindset. And I think that's what makes it very significant, because most of the things that you see, and this is valid for not just our project in Zanzibar, but also for our other friends that are doing like other projects all over the globe right now, that are seeing things from a different point of view, from a different perspective. So I think that is the part that is like very valuable. And this is also very interesting, because what we're trying to do is basically the things that we learned the way of working of Germany, of Europe, and to come and to apply to here, like, and how things work here. It was obviously a clash, but a clash in the sense that that you just discover the areas of adaptation, you discover the ways of collaboration, and that goes beyond just classroom education, so to say. I think that's what makes it so significant. Me and our group of 4, our group came to Zanzibar to work together with Barefoot College Zanzibar. It is the Barefoot College International is like a big institution, like a big NGO that is normally like in India, like headquartered in India. This is the Zanzibar chapter that we're working with. This is like an organization that is providing rural women who are semi-literate or illiterate solar engineering, beekeeping, sewing, education, and then livelihood training for free. And of course, like by the funds they have. And they're sending these women back to their villages to light up the cities that, but the villages that they come from, with electricity, to improve like the safety. As you know, when you don't really have any lights on the streets, the crime rates are much higher. Also, students cannot study as they wish, like at nighttime. So this is like their way of kind of like providing business development, women empowerment, and then also like the community engagement somehow. They actually are touching a lot of different initiatives. They're touching a lot of different points. It's like actually a lot of sustainability involved, a lot of economic development involved, and of course it's like women training women, because this is also like some sort of chain reaction that they work with. The women who are getting to this education are actually being trained to train the next generation that are coming. So it's actually an ongoing chain that is sort of educating the women. And to be honest, we've been exposed to like the solar engineering bit, especially this is their highlight program, among many others. And they're learning, like when you think about it, it's like women who don't know how to read or like to write. They actually color code them. They can actually build these panels and build these they can maintain, they can repair, they know everything because they learn how to make everything from scratch. So when they're going and giving it to the community, it's like 50 bulbs per house, so per village, sorry. So they're implementing it, they're like installing it for free, and suddenly there's light in the village they get it from. And all of the maintenance, of course, and then the small monthly fees that are getting into these women's pockets. And then they become like a main income holder of like in their household, for instance. Well, me and my group, when we formed the group first, we were discovering what we could do, where we could go. We definitely didn't want to stay where we are. We wanted to be on field because remote work was also an option. And we were all very keen to work with women, particularly. And then when we came across the profile of this organization, we arranged a call. And the director, she joined the call with her daughter, like sitting there. And she explained all the things that they're doing. They're a very small team. The management team is only 7 people. They're doing quite a bit. And they already knew what they kind of wanted to do as the next step. And we like instantly clicked. I think about like the professional reasons. It's also just felt very humanly connected. So we just wanted to pursue this one here. And to be honest with you, it's also a heaven here. It's a paradise that we're in as well. So gorgeous place for anyone who would like to come to Zanzibar for any kind of like social project. Go for it. Basically, before like a few months, this is like a program that starts, like this module starts in April, like a month long for like a module. So what happens is before it kicks off, a few months before, we start getting consulting workshops within the university, because of course there's like the management fundamentals, and then the tracks that are like the specializations we have are like very heavy. But on parallel, we're also getting information on like how to approach consulting projects. And then at the same time, we also have to we have deadlines to, for instance, come up with the deliverables that we want, like the objective of the project, what we want to provide, and of course, that kind of show some sort of direction as to what we're trying to achieve with the project during our time here. So we are assigned person from years above us, like from the previous cohorts, who are knowledgeable about it, who's been going through the same process. Therefore, can guide us into like whether the plan we have ahead is viable one or not. And then, of course, we're getting any kind of support throughout the time as well. So once the deliverables are done, we're coming back to ESMT, and then we're having a live presentation of how the project went, the learnings, the reflection, and then the achievements we made so far. So this is how it kind of links back to the program. Therefore, we're expected to apply all the kind of knowledge that we gained throughout the program since the start. But in the meantime, kind of go through navigate through the environment here, and then also find middle grounds on things that does not necessarily is the ways of working that we're accustomed to, and then how we're achieving, how we're overcoming these. So it just it goes back to maybe having a more international application, more socially impactful application of the teachings of university. We are 2 men and 2 women in the team. It's not just from initiative that came from the women in the team. We were actually all very excited to work with women in general. I was co-VP of events of Women in Leadership team, Women Leadership Club in my university last year. So I already was very much involved and excited about being part of business development and economic development of women, particularly. But then it's also rest of the team just being very actively searching for this area. We actually had a lot of different conversations with different NGOs. It's just more that this one particularly had a lot of a very large number of women who are getting the train, and that's why we thought that the impact would be also very high, since they had a clear direction. So that's why actually all of the team wanted to take this direction. We actually had to change every plan, almost all of the plan that we initially had. I think there are quite a few learnings, but for me right now, I am convinced of the value we're trying to bring to the table in terms of some management skills, some basic skills that the team here, the management team, felt very dusty about, not been using it much in the past years. And therefore, there's a lot of quick wins that we can put on the we can just offer on the table. So my learnings are what I want to bring with me is just the connections that we make here to begin with. We are going into houses of people who we don't know us or we don't know, that are welcoming us with complete friendliness and hospitality. I have to bring home this kind of mindset when I'm hosting people as well. And I think also maybe modesty, I would say, because there are so many different ways of living, and we're being exposed to some different types that isn't necessarily suitable in the way of living. I would just be mindful of that when pursuing my daily life back home. That's what I'd like to bring. So what we're doing right now is that, so the organization that we're working with, as I said, is a very small team who is very good, has very good connections, working at very high scale for the available capacity that they have. Yet there are some things that are like not very much in place in terms of project management, the program management. For instance, there's a lot of missing documentation, and there's like normally when you're working, for instance, you have standard operating procedures that makes it easy so that you don't have to replicate your efforts each and every time, and you have your KPIs. You're like monitoring how everything went after each and every application you make. So what we're doing basically is that they know very well how the operational part of things should be done. They're very good at that. We're trying to set up a system where they can work collaboratively online together, so that all of the information that needs to be seen and accessed by everyone is actually there and easy to find. This is one thing. The second thing is that there's no real feedback system in place for all of the programs. So we're trying to incorporate all of this documentation with like a follow-up procedure that is going to assess the impact, the contribution of this organization to community on society level, like on social level, on society and giving back to community, but also on the environmental level, because a lot of these women, for instance, get educated on composting and like rain harvesting, so like a lot more green ways of doing their work to like get some income out of like beekeeping, for instance. So we also try to like implement a model to assess the impact on environment and sustainable practices that is very fundamental in this tropic environment here. What we realized in Zanzibar College, like the Bayport College Zanzibar, is that the main bottleneck here was to get the funding necessary. And then this is like a very lengthy process because you're coming up with applications, for instance. So we try to shape this whole process to support with numbers, with what they've been so far, with real documents, with real quotes, so that in the application time they don't have to like deep dive into all these like information if it's very messy, but then also have everything like in templates like in place for them to easily reach, so that, you know, a more systematic approach that they can keep track of everything and then, you know, leverage this by reporting to get the funding in time without like much effort. I think this has been like most insightful in the theory versus practicality aspect, because I think now I believe that like this experience is definitely contributing to my capacity to ask the right questions, so to say. This might be just this might sound like a consulting skill on its own, but it's not just that. I think it's also, you know, like this need or this requirement to dig deeper into like from the obvious, like moving from the obvious to hidden. So I think that's what I would say that like is going to change from now on. That not taking things as their face value and then maybe like, you know, digging deeper to see actual reasons, actual causal reasons, relationships.